some, the apocalypse is on its way. For others, the apocalypse has come. What you will hear is startling, accurate, and far from fiction.
Society at the time, it of course being Elizabethan England, so the ruler at the time was Queen Elizabeth, a somewhat saucy woman who ruled England with an iron fist.
In 1599, England enjoys a renaissance of peace and prosperity. The 100 Years' War has ended, the Spanish Armada defeated, and London's population has reached an all-time high. However, sometime in autumn, something appeared in the night sky over the capital city. Something that would bring not only the dawn of a new century, but the dawn of the rising dead.
It entered from about the northwest direction to this area right outside of the Tower of London. There is a small tavern that was destroyed when the comet hit. The tavern has since been rebuilt by the family.
Right through here, came down, that's the story says. It came right down through here, right down into the basement. You still go down there, you can see the hole it left.
Traveling at the speed of shambling human footsteps, the infestation made its way through the north of London and across the bridge. Unexpected, uncaring, and unyielding. With few safe houses, the unfortunates left in the open were completely defenseless.
As far as we can tell, it is a mutation of the bubonic pathogen, and what that seems to do is it reverts the brain back to its primal state of being. The human feels the pain at every stage. They can feel themselves deteriorating. It's quite horrible, actually.
People falling down dead in front of you, rising up in front of you. Friends coming back to kill you.
Yeah, I'm so interested by it. I had never seen anything about zombies before, so I was like, what is going on? So I had to find out what was going on.
It was here, below the bridge, that the horde of 1599 gathered and revealed their final destination, the Globe Theatre.
The Globe Theatre is naturally defensible because it is an 8-sided building, a wooden O, as Shakespeare would call it.
Built to hold a boisterous audience of 3,000, Shakespeare and his players were at the climax of the opening show of Henry V.
Of course, Shakespearean players being, well, actors as they always have been, the show must go on. So they continued the production to its final bow.
Shakespeare and company, armed with only stage pieces and vastly outnumbered, were quite literally trapped inside.
I would imagine it was horribly confusing to be performing a show and then find that there was this being trying to claw and bite its way through your skull in order to eat your brain.
There have been reports of reanimated bodies where it was literally just a torso and a head, that as people walked by, the head would still try to consume those passing by.
It could not be curbed or misdirected in any way, but by the destruction of the cerebral cortex.
The medical community at the time really didn't do anything about it. The only way to destroy the infected is to remove the head. Once that was established, they would use any weaponry that they had on them.
So as the bodies piled up in the properties room, they merely shifted them through the central curtain in the upstage center area of the Globe Theatre, and they just added on to the carnage.
The bard himself survived, but not unscathed. His work was never the same again.
Now, Shakespeare's writing was a little more pleasant before the 1599s, with romances and comedies. Now, things started to get slightly darker after the zombie invasion, finally culminating with the actual rising of the dead at the end of Winter's Tale. At the time period, people didn't understand what the zombies or the risen dead really were. So people were really exploring, Shakespeare himself included, aspects of the other worlds, as we get with the three witches in Macbeth and their summonings, as we get later in Hamlet's father, the ghosts, and things of the dead rising, be they through ghosts or actual corpses rising.
While Shakespeare retreated into his writing, London society struggled to restore itself.
It actually spread for a number of years until, of course, the Great Fire of 1666. The only documentation, I believe, was in the form of a lost play that was written by one William Shakespeare. I have read parts of it. I have not read the whole thing. Frankly, the first act chills me to the bone.
What is known for sure? London survived a dark pestilence. A seminal event full of great implications, signifying even more.
That's the funny thing, it's always there, it's just waiting.
But with the clutter of history, have we passed over, or worse, ignored a menace that only waits for the next chance to rise, seemingly, from the dead?